Good afternoon, Arizona HOSA. We hope that you're excited for the International Leadership Conference, and we thank you for joining us here today to learn more about the International Leadership Conference and what you can expect. If this is going to be your first time at ILC, you're in for a really good treat as we go over the different tips, tricks, and best ways to prepare for your competition that you can utilize before heading to Nashville next month. My name is Elizabeth Carnesi. I'm the state advisor for Arizona HOSA, and today I'm joined by two of our competitive events committee members who are advisors and near and dear friends to HOSA. So I will let them introduce themselves here just briefly.
Hello, Arizona HOSA. My name is John Howell. I'm an advisor at EVIT.
Hello, Arizona HOSA. My name is Sandra Olini, and I have been an advisor at Dysart High School in the West Valley for the last 10 years. Welcome, and we're glad you're here.
Awesome. So today, some of the things that we're going to just go over, just because these are for competitors in the health science and the leadership events. We're going to go over what you can expect at ILC, how to prepare for your competitions, and then at the very end, if you have questions, we'll take those with the competitive events committee. If you have questions throughout this stream, please go ahead and put them in the YouTube chat. It is being monitored, and so then at the very end, we'll be able to take those questions.
All right, you guys. So before we get started, we're just going to play a quick little game just to kind of find out if you guys are really ready for your trip to Nashville and to ILC. So if you could visit the website that's listed below, it's blookit.com/play. I'm going to switch the screen over and you'll be able to see the code that you will use to join the game, and we will run it live. So we'll give you guys maybe a minute or 2 minutes just to get logged into the game, and we will go from there. So I'm going to pause here for a second. Maybe. There we go. So if you guys go to that website that's right at the top and log in with that code that's there. And we'll give it just a couple more minutes so that people can log in if they want.
Well, I think we know who's going to win.
Right. John, you can log in and play it too. I don't know if you've seen the questions yet. I snuck some extras in there. Oh, you're still muted.
We have three glorious students.
Nice. I'll give it about 60 more seconds. I'm not sure if there's any kind of delay also between our Zoom call on this side and the live stream on YouTube. So I'll give it just a minute or two, or one more minute, and then we'll get started.
I'm putting my money on Grace. Grace, don't let me down.
Love it. All right, so if you guys have never played this before, I'm assuming most people have seen this site at some point. A teacher has probably used it. but the questions will come up on your screen. I do have a specific game set up in here. So you'll get the questions on your own device. You'll get 4 answer options. And then if you answer it right, there are things you can pick, and you guys, yes, this is a game where you can steal from each other. So by all means, go for it. All right, I'm going to hit start. It'll give you the instructions on my screen as well.
Don't take that, Grace. That's what you get, Sarah. Go, Grace!
There's 30 seconds left.
Go, Grace, go! Take more gold! Grace, I'm proud of you.
Very, very nice. Love it. Awesome. So hopefully you guys have a little bit more info too. And if there's things you didn't know about Nashville, things you didn't know about ILC coming up, things that we learned about HOSA as an organization, hopefully that got you guys a little bit more information. So we are going to jump back over and I'm going to turn things over to my friend John. Make sure I'm on the right slide here. All right. And we are good to go. John, it is all you.
Okay. So when you get to the Gaylord Opryland Hotel, I don't know why they call it a hotel. They should call it like an island because it is huge. Bring comfortable shoes. You're going to be walking and walking and walking. The last time I was there on the Thursday of conference, I put in 53,000 steps. So bring comfortable shoes. So the competitions themselves are going to be held in the convention center area, which is toward the rear and the right of the hotel. The hotel rooms themselves are on the side edges of the area, the hotel. Some of the rooms are really tricky to find. Some you have to go up a floor, down half a floor, then up another floor to get to. So you want to scope them out on Tuesday and Wednesday in your spare time. Food there is expensive. You may want to eat at the mall. There's a mall about 7 minutes walk behind the hotel area, and it's more affordable. So plan for that. Next slide. Okay, so we're going to remind you of the HOSA etiquette. I mean, you can read. I'm going to highlight some of the ones that we want to make sure that you are crystal clear on. So when you're walking in the halls and lobbies, especially the convention center, quiet voices because competitive events are going on. Appropriate dress. I mean, you should be in either your official HOSA dress or your general session HOSA dress or competitor dress during the competition times. No showing skin. There is a pool there, so covered shirts are required. Okay. No member of the opposite gender should be in your rooms at any time. If you have to study, find a place outside the rooms. No sharing room keys. So elevators, that's not a place to party and jump around and all that stuff. So use those appropriately. Obviously respect hotel property. If you are in doubt whether what you're doing is appropriate or not, don't do it. There you go. Okay, next slide. Y'all got any pins? So if this is your first time to conference, the pin trading is one of the highlights of conference. And each of you are going to get 10 pins. Your advisors may have purchased more for you. They're generally given out on Wednesday when you get registered. So when you get registration material, you'll get your pins as well. The goal is to trade away all but one of those pins, unless you don't want to keep an Arizona pin, to get other state pins or other country pins. Now, I put on here that Puerto Rico is the hardest to get because I've only seen a Puerto Rico pin once, and it wasn't me that got it, unfortunately. China and South Korea will also be very hard to get. So good luck on that. When you're trading pins, don't be shy. Just go up to random strangers. That's kind of the whole idea, and say, hey, what state are you from? Do you have an Arizona pin? And you'll be surprised at how accommodating people are. And they'll light up and say, yeah, I want an Arizona pin, because our pin's like the most popular pin usually. I've seen it go for $50 some years. The best place is opening session, and get there early and find the Puerto Rico flag, find the China flag, find the South Korea flag, and just ask. Most of them will speak English. In my interactions with the competitors from different countries, they speak English. Some don't, but they will have an advisor or someone who does. The conference registration room. So where you actually get your registration material, that's a great place because everyone pretty much just got their pins. Elevators, HOSA Expo, outside of HOSA headquarters. Those are also good spots for trading pins. So there are your tips. Next slide. Okay, so when you get into the Gaylord, you're going to want to download the conference app. Hopefully the conference app is available then on Tuesday. If not, it should definitely be available Wednesday. Explore the conference space. Find out where opening session is, where your state, where the Arizona State meeting is. Find out where your competitive events are. Find out where HOSA headquarters is. Find out where the expo is. If you're doing any of the workshops, find out where those are. Explore your dining options and explore them all. Now, if you're doing the National Geographic tests, those will start Wednesday at 10 a.m. and they go to 5 p.m. Opening session is at 7:30, and then curfew is at midnight. Now, typically, we've had our Arizona meeting right after opening session. And Liz, can you verify that's true?
As of right now, states have not received information as to whether or not state meetings will be occurring. But as soon as I know, I will make sure that your advisors know and that you can put it right on your calendar. Awesome.
So Thursday, that's the beginning of competition day. Yes, we saw the National Geographic tests. HOSA Expo. This is where you have all the vendors and people from universities and other professionals there for you to mingle with, get information with, make connections. Curfew on Thursday is at 12:30 a.m. So give you an extra half hour. Okay, Friday, more competition. So typically round one competitions happen on Thursday. Round two, if you have a round two, happens on Friday. Some competitive events that don't have a round two will also be on Friday. It just depends. So check out the HOSA.org website, find the program or the agenda for the conference, and you can see when your event is being held. Again, HOSA Expo will also be going on Friday. Recognition session. So outstanding HOSA chapters, Barbara James, all those things, all the recognition events are going to happen at 7:30 that night, and curfew again is at 12:30. Saturday is the HOSA day. So you're done competing. Now it's time to go have fun in Nashville. Don't forget the Parthenon, that is a rebuild from the World's Fair. I don't know what year, but it's amazing. I've been there. If you're doing HOSA Bowl, hopefully you've already gone there and prayed to the HOSA Bowl gods. Grand Award Session 1 is at 5 p.m. And this is basically the teamwork and leadership events and the National Geographic tests. There's a second Grand Award Session at 8. So that's for all the rest of the events. So if your chapter has teamwork, leadership, and health science, or emergency preparedness, then you're going to both sessions. HOSA dance is at 10 p.m. till midnight, and then curfew is at 1 a.m. because of the dance. So those are things to look forward to. And next slide. Okay, so again, a few other things to consider. You are representing not only yourself, you're representing your school, you're representing Arizona, and you're representing HOSA. So please be professional. Again, the conference app, when it becomes available, it is not available yet. You'll definitely need this. They're going to push out notifications of who advances to round 2. They're going to push out notifications of varying events going on. There's a way to connect with the people. There's a social aspect to the app. You'll want that. Shuttle information. So HOSA will be providing shuttle service from the hotel to the offsite events. So you'll definitely want to know when your event, if it's offsite, when it is, when the shuttle is leaving, where it's leaving from, all that stuff. Don't show up late to that shuttle. Be there 15 minutes early, at least. So on time, early is on time is late, and late is left behind. Do not be late. HOSA Expo, again, vendors, schools, professionals, great way to make connections. You never know where those connections will lead you. I had a student one year who went to HOSA Expo, made a connection, got a job later that next year from a connection they made. So, and yes, it is a great place to trade pins. If you are signed up for the HOSA workshops, again, the app will have that schedule for you. It's also in the agenda now, so make sure that you check those out. The slide cut off, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it said next, but be sure to do something. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Okay, next slide. Okay,
All
so
right.
here's a message from National HOSA. Oh, sorry if I stole your.
No, you're good. We're just going to switch. I'm going to have Ms. Carnesi take over the screen share so she can share the audio so that you guys are actually able to hear the audio on this. So give me just a second here.
Healthcare supports the well-being of populations by delivering care through a system that focuses on early diagnosis, effective treatment, patient education, and post-care rehab. These are the characteristics of high-quality healthcare, something that's achieved when health professionals put patients first. Individuals in healthcare exemplify a lifestyle of service, a lifestyle of compassion, and a lifestyle of commitment to continually improving the scope of healthcare while healing the world with their knowledge. Future health professionals, it's not a job, it's a calling that can only be answered with insurmountable drive.
People who share this drive, look no further. There's a community of passionate and dedicated individuals waiting for you. A community filled with future health professionals of all kinds. Here, we know that health is as diverse as those who wish to join the field. Doctors, nurses, veterinarians, researchers, and even teachers. No matter what your journey looks like, we want to be here to support you each step of the way. With an unparalleled network of industry partners and incredible alumni, there's no better place to begin your journey. Competitive and recognition events will allow you to fully explore your interests while meeting people from around the world. Now, you may be wondering, where can I find a community like this?
That community is HOSA. But what is HOSA? What makes it so great and such a cool opportunity for students like you? Well, for starters, you can compete in different competitive events with your friends and with members from across the globe. You'll learn more about different aspects of the health field and gain exposure to different jobs and career opportunities. You'll meet new people, make some great friends from across the globe, attend conferences, travel, and learn more about what you are interested in. Through HOSA, you can learn more about what excites you, and that is exciting. It's exciting because HOSA can help you achieve your goals. It can support you on your journey and can help you gain a head start as early as during middle school.
But wait, isn't HOSA just for high school students? No. HOSA is for students in middle school, high school, and post-secondary collegiate institutions. As a HOSA member, you have so many opportunities to learn, lead, serve, and innovate. There are HOSA chapters everywhere, and we are looking for leaders like you. Thinking about a career in the medical field? Join HOSA. Want to compete at international conferences? Join HOSA. Excited about what the future holds for you? Join HOSA. Every summer, we host the International Leadership Conference, where students just like you gather to compete, learn, and network. Think about it. You can meet people from different towns, different states, and even different countries. HOSA chapters do all of that and more. You can be a part of it too.
Here at HOSA, there's always something to take part in. If you're looking for an exciting new challenge, check out our many competitive events. From health poster design to public speaking to my personal favorite, medical mat, we are sure there is an event right for you. Want to give back to your community? Get involved in our HOSA service project and help support nonprofit organizations that advocate for important healthcare and social issues. Whether it's through local fundraisers or statewide efforts, we are sure that you will be there to help support these causes. What's more, your efforts and community service can be recognized at both the state and international level. Now that's something to get excited about.
One of the most amazing parts of this organization is the community of like-minded, driven individuals. While on the competitive event side, you get to engage with the material you've been learning, you also have the opportunity to meet people from your region, state, or even around the world with similar interests as well as different perspectives. There are some very fun people in HOSA, and I personally have met some of my best friends at HOSA conferences. One of the greatest conference experiences HOSA has to offer is the International Leadership Conference. At ILC, there are countless events, workshops, and activities to take advantage of while allowing you to meet other HOSA members.
The single greatest benefit HOSA has given me was personal. Having had no health professional in my family, I walked into my first HOSA meeting knowing absolutely nothing. What I remember most is the energy and enthusiasm I got from the auditorium, and I knew that this was my chance to grow personally and professionally. And I, upon the recommendation of my advisor, ran and became my area's vice president in Texas HOSA. I soon became a state officer and developed important soft skills. Additionally, I've received internships through our conferences and made connections. We've made TikToks and have had pictures taken to make lasting memories. Through working with my team and with members, I realized that I wasn't just in an organization, I was in a family. Now, I'm here as an international executive council member, having a family spanning across multiple countries. Anyone can be a leader, anyone can be a future health professional, and it begins through HOSA.
If I could have done anything differently, I would have started a middle school chapter at my school. For as diverse as HOSA and our competitive events are, I had full confidence that every member would have found their niche in our organization. Starting a middle school chapter would have created an unparalleled momentum into our secondary chapters and beyond. The opportunities explored and the exposure to the global health community is the power of HOSA in every individual member. Looking back, if I had pushed myself to seize the opportunity of HOSA, it probably would be a much different story. Sometimes all it takes is that little encouragement. Take this as our encouragement to you.
If our mission matches up with yours, we invite and look forward to seeing many of you join our HOSA family. This organization is all about giving back and paying opportunities forward to the future of healthcare. Impactful service opportunities, competitive events, and personal growth is the core of who we are. For more information, visit www.hosa.org. Thank you.
Awesome. Hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of info just about, about all things related to HOSA and all different ways you can get involved. It does give you a little bit of insight into competitions as well. But we are going to jump right into the leadership events today, and then we will talk a little bit about health science events. So hopefully if you're watching this live stream, it is because you are competing in one of those two categories of events. So I'll just go kind of quickly through each event. So if you're in a health science event, you get a breather for a couple minutes. So you guys can kind of scroll through and wait for the events to come through that are yours. But I'll talk a little bit about just the best way to make sure that you are really, truly 100% prepared so that Arizona and your school are going to be well represented at ILC. So our first competitive event in the leadership category is extemporaneous writing. So a lot of these things are things that hopefully you already know because you have gotten yourself to the point where you're qualified for internationals. So I'm going to assume that we know some of this already, but just some friendly reminders. For ILC, you will need to bring your own fully charged laptop, and it does need to have the ability to connect to the Wi-Fi. They'll provide the Wi-Fi passwords and things like that for you when you get into the room, but it will need to have the ability at least to connect to the Wi-Fi. This year, if you have competed in extemporaneous writing previously, it might run a little bit different. You're actually going to be typing your essay into a form that is similar to a Google form style. You won't be typing it as a Word document and then saving it onto a flash drive and turning in the flash drive, as it has been done in previous years. So it is going to be a little bit different. You'll type it directly into the form that they provide for you. They'll give you the link to that when you get into the competition room, but it'll be done just a little bit differently. As always with extemporaneous writing, the topic will be announced at the start of your competition time, and then you will have 60 minutes to write your essays and submit the form. So just a reminder as we keep going through these, if you do have questions about your specific event, feel free to type them into the chat. If you're watching this on a replay on YouTube, so you're watching this after the live stream, if we have the ability, and I'll check, if we have the ability to review any questions, if you can leave comments and things like that, we'll try to be able to answer those comments that come in later. If you are watching it on our live stream, feel free to put questions in there, and we will have a Q&A time at the end. We can try to answer as many of those questions as we have. All right, we can go to the next one. So our next one, health career photography. Again, some of these things we already know. Your photos and your portfolio were required to be uploaded to Tello by that May 15th deadline. So hopefully you have those things already in. That is part of your round one. Round one also includes your display time. That mandatory display time is mandatory. You are expected to be there with your display. And then round twos will be posted. You will lose points if you're not in attendance, so make sure that you are there for that public display time, and that will be posted on the app and in your programs when you guys get those and you get to Nashville. For round two, you are judged on your presentation. Your presentation time is 3 minutes. Ideally, the goal is you spend about 1 minute per photo. Make sure you have a script written for your presentation. And all this is straight from the guidelines. So if you've reviewed your guidelines, you've seen these suggestions as well, that you want to present all your photos in the number order that you have them presented, and that you should hit all of the points that you'll see on pages 12 and 13 of your event guidelines. So make sure you really look through that rubric and you're hitting all those points that are suggested so you can maximize those points. You are able to use flashcards. They're welcome to be paper versions or electronics. If you have it on a phone or a tablet or something like that, it's totally acceptable. You just will not be able to show those to the judges. So there's nothing on those note cards that you'll be able to show them that will affect points or anything like that. They won't look at those note cards. Just some tips for a lot of these leadership events: practice your presentation as many times as you can in front of people. The more times you can, the more opportunities you have to present your competition and your speech and your presentation, it gets less and less nerve-wracking every time you do it. Ideally, if you present it a few times in front of people that can use that rubric ahead of time, they can rate your presentation. They can kind of see where there's room for certain improvements and where your strengths are to really capitalize on those. All right, healthy lifestyle is another leadership event. So your scores here are going to be based on a combination of your portfolio that you have already uploaded to Tallo, again, by that deadline, and your presentations. There's two components to that. Your presentation time is 4 minutes, and then you have an additional 2 minutes after that to answer judges' questions. We never know what the questions are going to be. It depends on your goal. It depends on your presentation. They may ask for clarification. They may ask, why was this important to you? All kinds of different options. So there's 2 minutes for them to ask and you to answer their questions. Your presentation should be focused primarily on why you selected the goal, what the goal was, why you selected it, and what progress you have made toward the goal. They're not going to be judging you on if you achieved your goal to 100%. It's more, why did we select this goal? What steps, why did we create the steps that we did to make progress towards the goal, and how are we doing on that? Same thing with the flashcards, paper or electronic, but we're just not going to show them to the judges. So you have all of those same opportunities to do note cards. For job seeking and interviewing skills, similarly to healthcare or to healthy lifestyle, your overall scores are based on a combination of items. Your resume that was submitted, personal statement, and digital profile, all of those that you hit that May 15th deadline for. And then the other portion is going to be your live interview that will occur when you are in Nashville. The interview lasts a maximum of 5 minutes. The questions that the judges ask you are considered secret topics. You can't share those questions with anybody after leaving. And they'll ask you whichever questions they have time for your question and answers for 5 minutes. You are allowed to, and I've seen people ask this question a lot, so we did make this point, handshakes. You are welcome to shake their hand when you enter and when you complete your interview time. That's been a question I've seen, to be honest, like multiple times, so I did include that info. You will not bring any materials into the interview, so you don't need to bring a copy of the resume. There's nothing that's going to be, nothing you can hand them or anything like that. You won't be bringing any materials into the interview. And again, confidence. This one's a little bit more challenging to prepare for because you just don't know what questions they're going to ask you. So just talk to as many different people as you can that have interviewed for different jobs. And the more confidence you can display to the judges, the more strength they'll see and the more points you'll earn. All right, and our prepared speaking and our speaking skills. So whether you're competing in one or the other, the topic is Shatter Your Expectations. Every year, the topic will always match the national HOSA theme for the year. If this is the first time you've heard this topic, then you're a great public speaker not knowing what the topic was. So I'm assuming we already know what the topic was. For the points, if you were to break down the judges' rating sheets, 30 of your 100 points are based on just the delivery. So your volume and your pitch and your tone and all of those things. And then 70% is based on the content. But remember, they need to hear the content through your delivery. So if we're not speaking loud enough, if we're talking way too fast or way too slow and we don't get through all of the content, then that'll affect those points as well. So we're kind of making sure we hit both of those. Your presentation time is 5 minutes. When you are presenting, the timekeeper, will hold up a card when you have 1 minute left. So they are not going to say time. They'll say time at the end. They're not going to say you have 1 minute remaining. They're just going to hold up a little 1 minute card. That will be your indicator that you have 1 minute left. 1 minute is longer than you think, so don't let that 1 minute card make you panic. It is nothing to stress about. You've practiced it enough times that you should know exactly where you're at when you hit that 1 minute card. Same note with your note cards. You have those paper or electronic note cards that are permitted. You don't need to show them to anybody. Some tips here: practice your speech as many times as you can. Record yourself. Hear the volume from a microphone if you record it on your phone, things like that. Give your speech to as many different people as possible so they can evaluate you. And again, it's all about confidence. Researched persuasive writing and speaking. So this one again is a combination of scores. Part of your scores are coming from the research paper that you uploaded to Tallo. And then the other portion of your scores are going to be from your presentation. It is a 4-minute presentation. Same thing, your timekeeper will hold up a card when you have 1 minute remaining. So don't let that stress you out. They won't announce 1 minute. They'll just hold up a card. They will be in a spot that's visible, so you will see it. Your speech in this event can include as much or as little of your original research paper as you would like. So remember, you wrote a research paper on the topic and then you write a separate speech. There can be as much crossover or as little crossover as you would like for your competition. Same note cards, paper, electronic are allowed. You won't show them to the judges. And our same tips, all of our public speaking tips are very similar. Practice, 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 confidence, confidence, confidence. It's always good to have somebody listen to your speech, review it against those judges' rating sheets and see what points we have that we can still capitalize on as many of these points as we can before we get to Nashville. And research poster. So this event is a little bit different. This, I believe, is the first time research poster will be held in the capacity that it's held at ILC. Previously, it was extemporaneous poster. So if you have competed in that before, that was different. This is a topic that you have chosen. You have selected the topic and have done all of your research based on a research question that you pose. So it's going to be a little bit different than your extemporaneous poster. You're bringing your poster with you. Your round one will be after your 5 minutes setup time. You're going to be judged on the display. So make sure that you use the rubric and the guidelines to show that you've hit all of those marks on there. The judge's rating sheet for research poster is fantastic because it very clearly outlines which categories you really want to focus on, and where your research came from, why this topic was important to you, where the research was conducted. All of the different topics are really, really clearly written out in the rubric on your judge's rating sheet. Again, with like all of our other display events, there is that mandatory public display time. So there will be an hour that you will have to stand with your research poster. That's open display time. Anybody can come in, anybody can ask you questions. Any questions you answer during this display time aren't judged because it's general public people coming in and kind of checking things out. Judges and event staff may walk around to measure the sizes or do any of those things that we have to, and track that you attended that, so you get those points for attendance. So make sure you look at those guidelines on page 3 of the guidelines. We kind of outlined where that is so you can find those. And then round 2 is going to be based on your presentation and the judge questions. So, and this one's split half and half. You get 3 minutes to present and then 3 minutes to answer their questions. I would create a script for your presentation. And in the guidelines, it actually suggests that your presentation start with like an elevator pitch style intro, something to kind of get them hooked into why this topic was important to you, why you chose this, and why they want to keep listening for the rest of the 2.5 minutes that you have left of your presentation. Same with our flashcards. You can make them on paper or electronic. So if you're using your phone for that or a tablet, totally acceptable, but we cannot show those to the judges. And again, practice giving this speech in front of people as many times as you can. Really know the data in your research, really look at the numbers, really know why this was important to you. Again, another tip for all of these presentation events, the more you have kind of rehearsed your presentation, or you know the text part of your presentation and the content, it'll reduce your need to rely on those note cards. So you'll really be able to connect with those judges a little bit better, as opposed to just putting a card in front of your face and reading off of that. Because remember, you want to connect to those judges. And then some general tips for all of these leadership events. So this qualifies, or this kind of applies, there's the word, to all of these leadership events. All of them have a component in there for your presentation related to your delivery of the information. Volume, pitch, and tempo are huge in this, in each of these event presentations. So I would definitely look through these guidelines. Think about these, ask somebody to stand across the room from you, give a speech to them, and ask them to evaluate just these things, regardless of what the content is: your volume, your pitch, and your tempo. People tend to get nervous when they get in front of the judges, and your tempo all of a sudden will pick up and you'll start speaking a little bit faster. So again, the more you can kind of give this speech in front of people that make you nervous, the better, so then the judges won't make you quite so nervous when you're standing in front of them there. All right. I know it's a lot of information so far. Some of it applies. Oh, my watch is asking me questions. Even my Apple Watch is trying to help you guys. So some of those are helpful to you. Some will be helpful to somebody else. That is all I have for leadership. Hopefully you guys are feeling a little bit more prepared. We're going to jump over to the health science events now. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Howell, let him go through some of these health science events, and then we will be here for questions and answers.
All right. So health science events. The key is for any event is knowing the guidelines. The guidelines are your official rules, so to speak, for the event. They also tell you where your references come from. So you need to know those textbooks, websites, whatever reference they give you, you need to be familiar with that source. That's where the questions are coming from. So almost all of your knowledge tests for health science are 90 minutes. The only exception is medical reading, which is 60 minutes. For medical reading, hopefully you've read all of those books, because that's where the questions are coming from. And it's not just reading them once. You need to read those books over and over and go through and make notes and all that stuff. So the guidelines does break down the topics. They tell you what percent's coming from which topic, that sort of thing. They give you sample questions so that you can be familiar with what the questions are going to look like. And then there are ties that happen all the time. And all the time we go toward that tiebreaker essay to determine who medals, basically. So be prepared. Always answer that tiebreaker question. Okay. So knowledge tests. It's impossible to know everything. You're not going to get 100% on the HOSA test. They designed that way on purpose, but you want to know as much as you can. Quizlet helps. Flashcards definitely help. Google searches, HOSA, epidemiology, HOSA, medical spelling, HOSA, medical terminology, searching for those and coming up with questions, Quizlets, they're out there. There's thousands of questions out there.
So I'm going to jump in really quick too, John.
Yep.
Another member of our team put together this quick little video. It's just obviously like a screen record of her phone, but it's another tip that we have for you in order to use Quizlet. Quizlet you can use obviously on the computer. A lot of people use them on the computer. You can also download the Quizlet app onto your phone. And then when you choose a study set and you download it or link it into your Quizlet account, then you have access to it on your phone. There's even more tricks that Quizlet keeps coming out with. So she's got a quick little video. I don't think there's any sound to it. So we're just going to hit play so you can see the screen record of how you can take these study sets and put them onto your phone to use them as review. So you can hit play on there. I might chat through it, but that's okay. So once you have it in there, you can search if you type HOSA and then the event name. You have all of the options. So you can take a test, you can do the learn, you can do match games, you can do all kinds of things. This is the cool feature that they have. You can put in the date for your competition. So if you know that your test is going to be, or your event is going to be on June 20th, or the date, you put it in there and it'll give you a whole schedule of when to study, and it'll give you reminders like, hey, have you learned these 5 yet? Hey, have you learned these 5 yet? And it'll kind of work you through those. So that there's lots of features on that Quizlet app that if you have a study set for your health science test, your knowledge test, there's going to be lots of really helpful info, lots of ways you can use that. And it's right in your back pocket because it's in your phone.
Awesome. Thank you for showing that video. And the practice tests on Quizlet, I personally use those for when I was getting my EMT, and they work really well. Okay, next slide. So here's some multiple choice question tips. HOSA loves to make you think outside the box. And so if you don't read the entire question, you're going to get it wrong because they're going to throw a curveball at the end of the question. They love to do that. So before you actually look at options, try to formulate the answer in your mind before you can look at what the options are. You're going to have to use a process of elimination. So most well-written multiple choice question tests have 2 distractors that are kind of correct, and then a correct answer, and then one that's like not even close. So using a process of elimination to narrow it down to the possible answers, you want to do that. And then answer the questions you know first. So if you're going through the test, you're like, I'm not sure on this one, move on to the next one, come back to it. Make educated guesses. Yes, sometimes you're gonna have to trust your gut. And honestly, 90% of the time when you choose an answer, it's either gonna be wrong because you didn't know it, but if it's right because you knew it, it's because you picked it the first time. Don't change your answers. I mean, that happens all the time. People have the right answer and they change it. Don't do that. And then when you can't decide, go for the positive answer. Now, I did not create this slide, and so I'm not really sure what is meant by go for the positive answer, other than positivity is the best. I'm not really sure what the person meant when they put that on the slide. Next. Okay, medical spelling. So medical spelling isn't just a test, it also has a spell down. So this will run the same way it did at SLC. So the first 2 rounds are kind of easier. It's just like with HOSA Bowl. Then the third round is moderate, and then the remaining rounds are like, okay, we're gonna drop you like flies because we got to have a winner. So be prepared for that. The Tabor's auto glossary will be used to pronounce the words. They do this at ILC just because you have people from all over the world, one coast to the other, and pronunciation is different. And so we use the Tabor's to kind of eliminate that. You can have the word repronounced or redefined, but it will count toward the 2-minute time that you have to spell the word correctly. So be careful with that. You, as the competitor, must speak the word cat, then spell the word C-A-T, and then speak the word again, cat. So cat, C-A-T, cat. If you don't, you will be eliminated. Don't get eliminated. If you are told you spelled the word incorrectly but are confident in your spelling, you do have the ability to ask if there are any alternate spellings. You'll do that by raising your hand and then wait for the judge to recognize you, and then you can ask that question. I've actually heard of this happening and it being reversed before. So, okay, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Carnesi.
All right. So are there any questions that any members might have about ILC, things to expect? For those of you that have never been to Nashville before, it's very humid, very different from our dry heat. So not only will it be hot in Nashville, but it will also be humid. So as you are out on HOSA Day and as you are out walking back and forth between the Gaylord and the mall, make sure that you're drinking water and make sure that you are properly hydrated. That's also just a really good tip in general. If there are any questions, as a reminder, just go ahead and throw them right on into the YouTube chat. Or if you have any questions after this session, please feel free to contact Arizona HOSA through either social media or through contacting myself as state advisor so that I can answer any questions that you might have prior to your arrival at ILC. My information can be found online at azhosa.org, which is our website, which I hope you have visited. But we'll keep it open for a few more minutes for any questions, just because I do know that there is a lag in between us speaking and when it ends up on YouTube. Nashville is a really fun place. For those of you that really like country music, I know that we have a lot of country music fans in Arizona. This is the place to be. Nashville is just filled with a lot of history and a lot of music history for those of you that are interested in country history. The Country Music Hall of Fame is there, obviously the Parthenon, as well as some historic buildings like the Hermitage, which is where President Andrew Jackson lived. We are just looking so forward to seeing you in Nashville. It'll be really good that this will be our first time together as an international organization in over 2 years. So we're hopeful that you're excited as well. I'm going to give it another minute. But again, if you have questions, please feel free to message us on social media. You can call the office, or you can send us an email. And my email is listed on the Arizona HOSA website.
If you find yourself in a hallway like the one in my background, when you get to the Gaylord, you are in the wrong hotel and you need to run.
Oh my gosh. It's a Shining reference. But also that did actually remind me about the Gaylord. The Gaylord is broken up into different sections, and the sections of the Gaylord are delineated by the color of the carpet. So if you're trying to find a friend and they say, you know, I'm in room 100 and you're looking at room 100, you can say, I don't think you're in room 100. What's the color of the floor? And if it's the different color than what you are seeing, you're in the wrong location. I'm not seeing any questions. So at this time, we're going to end the live stream. But thank you so much for joining us. And we hope that you're really excited for the International Leadership Conference. It's going to be a great time. And we are so looking forward to being able to be in person once again. All right. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice long Memorial Day weekend. And we will see you in Nashville.